Hi, I'm Mark Fowler, lead pastor. It has been quite a week. I've spent a great deal of time on the phone and on Zoom calls. People are recovering from the experience of the presidential debates. The fury, the bullying, it struck people in a very deep way about the decorum of the discourse in this nation. It reflects the threats of violence that give us all fear. It reflects the division that we've all experienced, and it has affected us in a deep way. I was drawn to the book of Proverbs, Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, in the First Testament. This book is not necessarily a book of theology, but it is a book of instruction. The prologue says it is for learning about wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for gaining instruction in wise dealing, righteousness, justice, and equity, to teach shrewdness to the simple and knowledge and prudence to the young. Let the wise also hear and gain in learning, and the discerning acquire skill, to understand a proverb and a figure, the words of the wise and their riddles. The Proverbs are often cited as those which guide us in our life. And I was searching for an often overlooked part of this because it seems so elementary, and that is kindness. Kindness. I remember as a little boy, my words probably weren't the best. I could have been a bit aggressive, a bit nasty, a bit whatever it may be. My grandmother, I remember her instruction to me. She would interrupt whatever I was doing or saying and said, "Be kind. Simply be kind." I think that we need to remember that from the Proverbs, from the beginning, kindness is a virtue of being a human being in community, one with the other. Kindness in our dealings with each other. Proverbs 11:17. Those who are kind reward themselves, but the cruel do themselves harm. It may seem that the cruel are those who are winning and dominating, but this turns the tables. Those who are kind reward themselves, but the cruel do themselves harm. And then in the final chapter of the Proverbs, the 31st chapter, in a piece that is not often read because it is written in a time when there is a distinction between the roles of men and women, and this I used to be asked to read an awful lot when I started my ministry, in the death of an older spouse, a wife. Not so much anymore. But the accolades, the unique accolades, those things which make a difference. In this 26th verse, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. Kindness, an essential part of who we are. 1 Corinthians 13 is often read at a time of holy unions or of marriages. And I will leave this as one of Paul's greatest writings, 13th chapter, 1 Corinthians. If we are human beings, and we are created in the image of God, and if the first epistle of John is correct that God is love, and Paul talks about the essential nature of a human being is the capacity to love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. In a time when cruelty is enabled, when violence is threatened, when abuse is countenanced as policy, many of us are disheartened. But we remember that the essential nature of a human being is to be kind, to be loving, to be truthful, and to be in love. Let's practice those disciplines and those remembrances every moment of every day. And when we stray, it is not because these other things are stronger, but they are destructive. Kindness. Kindness. In God's name and amongst God's people as a gift to the world.